It's another beautiful Monday morning. How are you doing? Welcome to Motivation Monday on Jam 316. We are live on Family TV and also on Family Radio 316. Have you ever felt like Ukotu? Has somebody ever asked you, how you doing? And you say, I'm just there. Where? Just there. Even me, I don't know where I am. I'm just there. Nikotu. You feel stagnant. You feel like you're not growing in your life. I think for a good number of people, they can look back at 2020 and say that's where they were. Ukotu ndani ya nyumba. You know, nothing seems to be happening. Nothing seems to be moving. You're not growing, or you feel like you're not growing or making progress in any area of your life, and you're just there. And usually it's not a very good place to be at. It's not. It's not. In fact, if you stay long in that place, you can easily sink into a depression. And so today we want to look at that. In fact, I have several people who are already SMSing me and telling me that's exactly where I am. This one is from my friend Shiro. She says, I am there, stagnant. It makes me anxious and always praying to God to show me the season I am in. This year I haven't been able to plan my year because I don't have clarity of direction. Maybe you identify with her. Joy from Nakuru had also sent in an SMS earlier, and she says, yeah, I have to admit sometimes that feeling is where I am, and I'm waiting to listen to what is going to be shared today. So today we want to talk about growth. Developing a growth mentality, a growth mindset. It seems like there are people who are consistently growing, making progress in their lives, and then there's the rest who are just there. Kama mkate nusu pale kwa counter kwa duka. Hauna mbele wala nyuma. You have no idea which direction you're going. How do you get out of that mold and develop a mindset of growth where you begin to make progress in different areas of your life? That's what we're going to be looking at today. I'm inviting you to be a part of this conversation. If you identify with Shiro and you identify with Joy from Nakuru, talk to me. Are you at that place where you feel like you're just there? Uko tu. You're not growing in any area of your life. If that's you, talk to me. SMS is on 20316, WhatsApp on 0786 316 316. Eden green tea, Eden purple tea, Eden lemon tea, Eden ginger tea, and Eden premium tea. So you're spoiled for choice. Try it out today. You will not regret it. Eden tea is reminding you and I, let's continue to be diligent, washing our hands with soap and running water, maintaining high standards of hygiene, reminding us to ensure we have our face masks on when we are interacting, and also just being careful to maintain interpersonal distance. All those things are still important even today. So let's continue to be diligent. Let's continue to work together. Thank you for your SMSs. I have several people saying that they're just there. You are the people we want to talk to today. Nico too, they're just there. I feel like I am just there. I'm not going forward. I'm not going backwards. I'm just there. How do you get out of that situation? How do you begin to develop a growth mindset? That's what we are looking at today on Motivation Monday, and I have an amazing guest with us today. She is a motivational speaker and she is also an author. Joyce Gikunju is with us in studio via Zoom. Joyce, karibu sana. It's good to have you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, James.
Karibu sana. So let's dive into this discussion. First of all, maybe we can begin by defining, when we talk about a growth mindset, what are we talking about?
So again, great question. A growth mindset is something that is already in you, and it is the thing that propels you forward, as opposed to what keeps you stuck or fixed, or like you're saying, just there.
Mm-hmm.
So a growth mindset is the one where you wake up in the morning and you're telling yourself, what do I need to do? Where do I need to go? So already you are in momentum. So a growth mindset is a momentum mindset.
Okay. You know, even just looking at that whole term, growth mindset, are we then saying that it's not necessarily what's happening on the outside, but it's the kind of mindset that you have that will determine whether you will grow or whether you will stay stagnant or whether you will go backwards?
So yes, it is always first and foremost an inside game. And that is why if you are the kind of person who wakes up early in the morning, you know that you start winning the day in the morning. And that is why the word is command your morning. And that is why we have this talk early in the morning. We don't have it in the evening, because in the morning is the best time to capture and command your day. And when you command your day, you command your week, you command your month, you command your life. So it also begins with how the mind works, and the mind is refreshed in the morning, best time to get moving.
Okay. So let's talk about these mindsets then. Before we even talk about the growth mindset, what are these other mindsets and hindrances that keep us behind?
So again, great question there. The thing that I find a lot of people having, and especially when they encounter a season like the one we just passed through last year, is what we call a fixed mindset.
Oh.
But what people don't also realize is that sometimes you don't know that you are in a fixed mindset as opposed to a growth mindset. So it is the words that come out of your mouth that let me know that you are actually operating from a fixed mindset. When you say, I am just there, you have not declared anything in the direction that you want to go.
Yes.
So you have to start your day with the things that come out of your mouth. Can you speak life into your life? That is a growth mindset. A fixed mindset is, I am just there. Corona happened. You're looking for outside things to define you instead of looking for the things that you can use to propel you forward. So a fixed mindset is very dangerous because, first of all, if you don't know you have it, you'll never be able to move forward. You're stuck in a rut, and until you realize that you can get yourself out of it, you will not be able to move forward. Another way to know that you have a fixed mindset, you start talking about circumstances that are around you instead of talking about how you can use those circumstances to propel you forward.
Okay.
If you hear someone saying there are no jobs,
Yeah.
that is somebody with a fixed mindset. You are waiting for somebody to do something for you instead of being the one to own your space. So that is the danger of a fixed mindset. That until you speak, sometimes we don't even know that you're there. Another way you can know that someone has a fixed mindset is saying, but that's how we are used to doing things. It's always been done like that.
Yeah.
That is a fixed mindset. I think Corona, if Corona didn't teach us anything else, it taught us that there's no such a thing as that's how it happens. Where in the world did you see a flu affecting the whole world?
Yes.
It has never happened. So those who saw this as an opportunity were able to move forward. Those who saw the danger got stuck in a rut.
Wow. How does somebody get to the place where they have a fixed mindset? I mean, there must be something that happens, or maybe a particular lifestyle or environment that would make somebody have that kind of mindset, because it's good to know how we get there so that we don't go there in the first place.
That's a very good question. Actually, it's your ecosystem that makes you get stuck. If you look around you and you look at the average of the 5 people you're hanging around and they're speaking the same language as you will not be able to get out of a rut. And that is why when you speak to billionaires, you speak to successful people, they all say the same thing. They have somebody they look up to that is already ahead of them and is already at the place where they want to go. So this morning, the challenge is, if you find yourself in a situation, ask yourself, who is in the scenario, who is living the life that I want to live? Look for them, and like I always say, these people are accessible now. So it's a question of make up your mind that you don't want to be stuck anymore, and then you get connected to the people who you look up to. You get connected to a mentor, you get connected to a coach, and then you stay accountable so that you don't get back stuck in that rut. Another thing that makes people stay in a fixed mindset, and this is the most common, is you are reading and what you are watching. So a lot of times you find that if you are not reading growth books, you are not going to grow. If you are watching TV, the TV sort of does something to people. I don't know that it's because it's just the technology behind television, but television is the last thing you should be looking at when you are in a rut. When you have a fixed mindset, you just, like I always say sometimes, throw away that television, replace it with books.
Yes.
Let me tell you, your life will change. Each and every month you will find that you are growing. So that space where the television is, I wish you could just get books and feed books there. These days there's something called a book tower. What book are you reading every month for the next 12 months? Those are already 12 books. With that, and surrounding yourself with the right people, you will find that you will actually start growing slowly by slowly.
Wow, that's interesting because in today's devotion, this week on the devotional hour, we are focusing on the renewed mind. And today we were talking about the intellect and knowledge and the importance of gaining the right kind of knowledge because it becomes the library in your mind that then you bounce off of as you make decisions and as you interact with others and as you plan your life. So I find that what you're saying is hand in hand with that.
Exactly. And you know, the thing about this conversation we're having, I'm actually very excited to talk about it in a TV station that's a Christian station, because if there is a book that exists on the face of this earth that helps us grow every day, is the Bible.
Yeah.
The Bible actually has verses, and I can even start pointing out verses in every other part of the Bible that tells you that you should always be growing. If it's about social capital, if it's about your EQ capital, if it's about your intellect, the Bible is packed with information about how you can grow. There is no part of the Bible that tells you to stay fixed. You know, it's always about growth.
Yes.
Growing your social capital, growing your intellect. And that is why even before you go and buy those other books, you first need to read your Bible. It always tells you how to even deal with a season like this one. Like the way, for example, if you look at Ecclesiastes 11, it talks about, you know, the danger of looking up to just one job. And yet in verse 2, they talk about that you should diversify so that the day that danger will hit the land, disaster, like what we had last year, you will not be wailing, because the Bible said, diversify so that you don't have a situation where you are stuck because your incomes have drained. 7 to 8 incomes cannot drain because of Corona. So you see, that's the Bible saying, grow yourself so that you always have something to hold on to.
Okay. Now, shortly, we'll talk about how then do you overcome challenges. Last year would be a good example. Something hits you, you didn't see it coming. It disrupts everything. People who lost their businesses or they lost their jobs. And it's like every other thing you've tried is not working. And so I'm just there. How do you overcome those kinds of hindrances? We'll talk about that shortly. And I'm also giving you an opportunity to ask your questions. Several people have said, I am just there. What question would you want to ask my guest for today? Nimekupatia free consultation. Make use of it on Family Radio 316 on this beautiful Monday morning. Motivation Monday, developing a growth mindset. That's what we are talking about. In studio with us via Zoom, I have motivation speaker and author Joyce Gikunju in studio with us, giving you the opportunity to ask questions, especially those of us who have texted in this morning saying, I am just there. That is where I am, just there. I feel like I'm not growing. Ask your questions, take your opportunity on 20316, WhatsApp 0786 316 316. So Joyce, back to the conversation. As I was saying earlier, how do you overcome obstacles? Because sometimes it seems like, you know, you've tried everything, you've tried what you know, and it seems not to be working. You feel like you're just stuck. A good example is last year. You know, we were hit by this pandemic. We didn't expect it to draw out as long as it has. People have lost jobs. People have shut down businesses. People have lost loved ones. And sometimes it feels like you're just being bombarded from all directions, and it seems like there's nothing much you can do. How do you overcome such kind of hindrances and obstacles?
I love that question because just this morning, I was reading a book, and I'd like anyone who's feeling stuck to consider looking out for the book called Letters from Leaders by Henry O'Dorman. This is a compilation of stories from the wealthiest and most influential people from around the world. And one of the things that this book talks about is the way they found the challenges that were there in the day and use those challenges as stepping stones to where they want to go. So instead of overcoming the challenge and thinking, how can I get rid of the problem? The question then you should ask yourself, or rather the growth mindset says, how can I use this problem to get me ahead to where I'm going? It is also an ancient philosophy where you use the obstacle and make it the way. So you turn your troubles into triumph, and you use all the problems that you have and actually turn them around to your advantage. So this is some of the things that are discussed in this book by Henry O'Dorman. Another book that also talks about how to deal with a season like this one is a book by Ryan Holiday. It's an ancient book. It's an ancient philosophy, but it's a modern book. What they've done is that they've looked at people way back in history who had extremely difficult situations, but somehow they were able to overcome and thrive in those situations. It's the same philosophy of use your triumphs to your advantage. So the book by Ryan Holiday is called The Art of, I'll get that name. Why am I forgetting the name of that book? And I'm reading it actually. I'll get the book. But basically, those two books say the same thing. The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday.
Okay.
The obstacle is the way. What is in your way? Use that to create the way. Use that and turn it around to find your way. For example, let me give you an example with the way people have lost jobs. So the job is gone. Yes, you're there and you had been hired because you had certain knowledge, certain skills, certain qualifications.
Yeah.
Why don't you package yourself and monetize? You get? So because there's nothing there that, it's just the employer that disconnected themselves from you because they were not seeing how they can use this season and the opportunities in this season. But when you read books like Ryan Holiday's The Obstacle is the Way and Letters from Leaders by Henry O'Dorman, I'm telling you, even by the time you're done reading that book, you will have packaged yourself. And the future that we are going into is something called a gig economy, where you just work from project to project. So package your skills and get yourself moving. But you see, until you read that book, that idea will not come into your mind. And that is why I love the idea that I always say books just open up your mind.
Okay.
So these two books, I'm telling you, by the time you're done with the first few chapters, you will be a different person. So that is the strategy that I have always found working, and it works for you throughout. And then don't forget, another way to overcome challenges is as you connect yourself with your mentor and have weekly or monthly sessions, please remember to speak life into your life.
I like that. So let's go back to the books, because I think sometimes, going back to education and how we were educated and the way the education system of the country is set up, most of us study to pass exams. We don't necessarily study to gain knowledge. We just study because there's an exam coming and I need to pass, because unless I pass, I will not go to the next grade, or I will not get a good job, or, And so a good number of people, once they're done with school, so to speak, we stop learning because there's no exam coming. I've finally finished. I remember when I finished Form 4, I burnt my uniform and I burnt my books. My mom is watching the show and she's thinking, Pastor, yes, I burnt my school uniform, I burnt my books, I celebrated, we had a ceremony and danced around a mugumo tree in Jamhuri High School, my former classmates, if you can remember. Because the notion we had was that we are done with education. We are done. How does somebody develop a mindset of learning? Because I believe learning and growth are married. They cannot be separated. Because I find it interesting, you're talking about books you're reading. Why are you reading them? Is an exam coming? Somebody would think like that. Talk to me.
So that is very interesting. So the thing is, if you find that, for me, what I can say about that is, if you have lifelong learning as a core value, like when you wake up every day, you tell yourself, I want to grow. You will find yourself always hungry for information. And when you find that that information is actually helping you grow, sort of like personal development 101, every day you tell yourself, I want to grow. You pick something, you read, you find it's helping your life. What will stop you from continuing to read books and continue to be hungry for books? Because you're seeing an advantage. I think what I can say about our education system is that maybe the reason why you are excited is because everything was structured in a certain way. There was nothing relaxed for you to do outside of school, like read a book that will actually help your life, and you will not be examined. The personal development space is exciting because, first of all, it's relaxed. You learn in a non-classroom environment. And then you find that as you learn, you grow. So I think the idea is, yes, I know the education systems that we have are a certain way. So why don't you then say, okay, I didn't like the systems the way they are happening. Then why don't I learn differently? Why don't I learn from home? Why don't you? And the other thing is, I think also the person who founded things like Audible knew that people are tired of just hearing a teacher standing and talking in front of them.
Yeah.
So there are books. These actually, I don't know which amazing book in this world you can't find on Audible. Why? Because people love listening to things on the earphone. So pick a book and listen to it. Take notes and write down for yourself what you want. The only thing you want to write down is action points. For example, if you take letters from leaders and you find that, oh, you can be in an Uber and you can be listening to the book, and then the idea comes and you can just tell the Uber, let me drop off here, because you have just seen something that the book is talking about and you want to try out something, So I think for you, you have to make a decision. In this new world, there are many other ways of learning. It doesn't have to be classroom, examination. So yeah, that's what I would say. Find a way that works for you. That is why we have audiobooks, Find a way. There are cassette books, but to learn is something that you will find every day. You are growing, you are getting out of the rut. So that will encourage you to keep on continuing to learn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you give us a strategy for somebody who's listening in, and the several people who texted in and said, that's me, you're talking about me, I'm just there, I just feel like I'm not growing, I'm stagnant. What kind of strategy can we give them that can jumpstart them into this process of developing a growth mindset?
Excellent. So the best place to jumpstart your life is to think about yourself and what you love and what you're passionate about. Therein lies the secret to unlocking your life. Think about what you like and what people tell you you're good at. That is where your gold mine is. Start from there and monetize based on your gold mine, your passion. Let me tell you, you're going to become unstoppable. Let me give an example of a Kenyan who was at the university studying architecture.
Yeah.
And then when he's not in class, what was he doing? He was making music. Today, his life is not about architecture. His life is about music. He found his passion, and right now he makes us all happy with all his amazing songs. I think we all know who I'm talking about, So be that person who just decides, you know what? I know I'm good at this. Can you productize it and make money from it? That is the best place to start.
Let me throw in a spanner in the works on that point, because I've shared that with somebody before, and they said, for you guys who know what you're passionate about, you think all of us know what we are passionate about. Some of us, we've had that long enough, and it becomes more frustrating because truly we have no idea what we are good at or what we are passionate about. So for somebody who's in that category, how do they discover what they're passionate about and what they're good at?
Yeah, so I know what you're talking about. There are some people who have no idea what they're good at. And what I can say about such people is ask the people you grew up with. Ask the people you surround yourself with. By the way, what am I good at? Let me tell you, that conversation, no one will figure out what it is, why you're asking that question. It's a very easy question to ask. By the way, what am I good at? What do you find me good at? You will be surprised. People usually are ready to tell you what you're good at.
Yes.
They are ready. But until you ask that question, people won't tell you. Because by the time you're asking that question, it means you're just a sleeping giant. So for such people, I always say, ask your sisters and brothers, ask your friends. You'll be surprised. They'll not even take a minute to give you answers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So where do I move on from there? I've discovered what I'm good at. How do I begin to package that? How do I begin to grow that? Because also sometimes there's a tendency of, I've seen people who know they're good at something, but they never improve on it. Because the assumption is, I'm good at it. I'm just good at it naturally. But they never actually develop it. They never monetize it. It just becomes something they're good at, and it ends there.
So again, that is very important what you have just said over there. That means there's nobody that you're accountable to that is helping you move your product or your service that that you're monetizing from your passion. And that is why I always say, if you are interested in moving to that next level, if you're interested, you see, that's the thing. If your mindset is that of growth, you will ask yourself, how can I move to the next level? Now that is where it becomes important for you to reach out and get a coach. Tell them that you want to improve your product. You want to go to that next level. And you will be surprised that even that coach will give you ideas that will quantum leap you to the next level. Because sometimes as human beings, we don't see ourselves how other people are seeing us. For example, I always knew that I was an author. I always knew that I was a speaker, but I never used to monetize it. When I got a hold of a coach, I'm telling you, we actually structured a whole business around my passion.
Wow.
And let me tell you, I am not employed by anybody. I cannot be employed anytime soon, because when I got a hold of a coach, he said, this is what you need to do. They actually, they product you, they productize you, they sort of, you become like a project, and they're excited to turn you around, because it's also good for their business when you are the walking testimonial of what they can do.
Yes.
So you just need to be humble enough to reach out and tell someone, this is what I'm doing, I want to move to the next level. And what I like about what coaches do is that they always ask you, what is your destination? Where do you want to go? How much money do you want to make? Now that one makes you think like, oh my gosh, you mean we can actually even peg an amount on that?
Yeah.
I don't know who doesn't like money. So that, I always find that a very exciting conversation. So you work backwards with the coach, So that is the best way to approach someone like that. If you really want to grow, that is the way to go. You get somebody who will help you package yourself and move on to that next level. And just to encourage people who are not so excited about this conversation, let me tell you, the World Economic Forum happened recently. World Economic Forum, as in the forum that talks about the way the world is going. Do you know what they said? They said that the future of the world of employment is self-employment.
Wow.
So if you know that, what are you waiting for? Yeah.
I like that. I like the aspect of a coach. And just one of the things I've found is that it always helps to have a fresh set of eyes look at your situation, because sometimes we become so comfortable in this situation, we become blind to certain things because of our mindsets and because of what we are used to. And it never ceases to amaze me when somebody else steps into the picture and they're thinking, what are you crying about? What about this one? What about this one? What about this one? And you're thinking, I've never looked at it that way. I've never seen it that way. And it becomes a eureka moment for you to discover that there are actually opportunities and new avenues right at your doorstep. Okay, it's about Obado. Obado says he's also a writer, and he desires to be a motivation speaker. He writes poems, and so he is asking, how do I grow that? How do I monetize that?
So because of the area that he's involved in, I would then have to connect him with somebody who is obviously like 10, 20 steps ahead of him, so that he can help him grow in that particular area. So basically connecting him with somebody who can grow him, who is already in that space.
Okay. Faith is asking, says, I'm really learning a lot from this session. I have a quick question. How do you track and appreciate your little achievements? Since the big ones, for example, graduating, take a long time.
Okay, so celebrating the wins.
Yeah.
It's okay to celebrate wins. That is good, because it really helps you also to prevent burnout. What I can say about that is, when it comes to celebrating wins, when you finish setting a goal and achieving it, can you set a nicer, bigger goal? So that at any one time, you're not saying, yeah, you celebrate, and then tomorrow morning you're waking up and you're like, okay, what's up? You have to set a goal. When you achieve it, you make a bigger one, so that at any one time you're working towards something.
That's very true. And in fact, on the whole aspect of goal setting, maybe you could share a bit more and tell us how important it is, because let me give you an example. I have a friend of mine, he's also an author, And every time I meet with him, he keeps telling me, I've written this book. So far, I think he's written more than 10 books. And every time I meet him, he's always working on something, always working on something. He always has a direction he's working towards. And he's accomplished so much so far. And I keep thinking, where do you get the zeal? Where do you get the energy? So maybe you can mention to us a thing or two about the importance of goal setting.
So I like that question because, first of all, it's at the beginning of the year. And I'm sure many people have heard that there are vision boarding parties. And you're wondering, what is that? It's a party without alcohol. You don't even have to meet in person.
Yes.
What these people are doing is that they're organizing their life and putting out what they want the year to look like. So the most amazing thing that can happen for you this year is immediately after this program, you just go around your house and pick pictures of images of how you want your life to look by the end of this year. Paste them onto a board and then put them somewhere where you go every day. For example, the inside of your wardrobe is somewhere you look every day because you have to open to see what you're going to put on. Look at that vision board every day and make declarations about what you want to happen in your life. That is how come some people just get ahead and others don't. The secret is in what you do every day. Again, the Bible, the book of Habakkuk is the one that talks about having your vision in plain sight. It is something you're looking at every day. Because as you look at it, your mind has a way of absorbing those pictures, and your mind doesn't know whether it's a picture or it's real. So your mind helps you get to where you are going. So the most amazing thing about the people who get ahead, they all have vision boards. And so as to whether you want to attend a vision board party or not, it's up to you. Some are chargeable, some are free of charge. I would truly encourage you to do this because this is the stuff of titans. And that is how come some people never get stuck, you know? Because you find that if they put out something and it didn't work and they used route A, then they are going to try route B. You know, you don't get hung up on the way of getting there. It's the destination. So if you can't do plan A, try plan B. If you can't do plan, you know, keep on trying different things to get to where you're going. So the vision boarding is very important. And then another thing that I'd just like to say, because now we're talking about the things that you need to do at the beginning of the year so that you can set a momentum or a tempo for the rest of the year. Anybody who has climbed a mountain says there's something about looking at the world from the top down that makes you just slay whatever it is that is in your way. So when you climb a mountain, it's just about the physical exertion and the challenge. It's about using that challenge and, you know, as a metaphor for life. You can climb that mountain. What can you not? You know, what can you not slay that is in your way?
Wow. Another question here is asking about relocating. Can relocating from one area to another work? Because sometimes you feel comfortable and relaxed in certain places because the surrounding helps you to, challenges you to grow, but then there are other environments that don't challenge you to grow. So does the relocating in the environment have anything to do with it?
It has a lot to do with it. For example, there's a quote I see all the time on social media, which on LinkedIn, which I find very exciting. It says that, for example, if you're in a comfort zone, that already is dangerous. Comfort zone, you will never grow. Comfort zone is where fixed mindsets lay. So relocating has one advantage. You go into a new environment, your mind has to grow neurons, fresh ones, so that they can figure out things that they were not figuring out in the old environment. So your mind grows because it has to figure out different things or different challenges of the new environment. So what I was talking about in LinkedIn is there's a quote that says that you cannot heal in the environment that made you sick. So relocating has a way of giving you fresh eyes. And again, I speak from experience. Once upon a time, I lived in Nairobi. Obviously, that wasn't working out for me. And when I moved to this new location, everyone said, you look fresh. It's just something. You look refreshed. It's a new environment. It gives you fresh challenges. And so for me, it worked. And I know that you cannot grow in an environment in the same environment that made you sick.
Okay. I have another question here. This one is from Waboy in Udhiru. Wamboy is saying this is a very good and eye-opening conversation. Can our guest today please tell us how she started monetizing her passion? What is it that maybe if you are willing to share with us, what are some of the key things that your coach shared with you that unlocked this area of your life that you realized, this is how I can actually monetize what I am doing?
First of all, that's a great question. And yes, I don't mind sharing. I found myself out of work.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, so for me, I was not going to have that pity party. So I was out of work on a Tuesday. And on Wednesday, I called my coach. I saw him on Thursday. And I had known him for 10 years. He knew me. It's a journey we had been walking on and off.
Uh-huh.
Every time I see myself succeeding, I drop him.
Yes.
Anytime I run into trouble, I look for him. So he knew me.
Yeah.
And what happened is that over the years, he really knew what my strengths were.
Mm-hmm.
So what he now did when he found out what my strengths were is that he helped me package my strengths, because I had to go through a session. We used to just meet once a week. Again, it doesn't feel like class when you only meet someone once a week for 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So you meet, you discuss, and then he gives you an assignment. So that means you need to have time to reflect on the assignment, and then you productize and you monetize with him. So that is how I ended up where I am today.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of looking at the job loss as a problem, I said, but where is the opportunity here?
Yeah.
And I was up and about the very following day without, taking a break or hesitating. Because the thing about this life is that you need to learn to give yourself permission.
Mm-hmm.
Stop seeking approval and dilly-dallying and waiting and holding back. No, you need to just jump from I am not employed today, tomorrow.
Yes.
Tomorrow. Don't even waste time saying, but that hesitation is where the problem is.
Wow. I love what you're sharing, because it talks about investing in yourself, because I'm sure the coaching sessions are not free. You had to, invest in that. And sometimes many of us are afraid of doing that, or we don't see the value in doing that. I remember a friend of mine posting on social media a couple of weeks ago how at one point when she was still working, just before she resigned, she actually took a loan of almost 200,000 to pay for a course, an online course. And many people thought she was crazy. How do you pay such a huge amount of money for an online course back in the day? And she said, till today, she is earning from that online course because it transformed her life. It changed her life. She quit her job. She set up her own outfit, and she's really doing well. So I think it's a good encouragement for people to, like you said, give yourself permission, invest in yourself, because if you don't, then who else will? We are almost out of time. What would your parting shot be for us today as we wrap up?
Gosh, it's just been amazing.
Yes.
It feels like there's so much more I can say.
Mm-hmm.
I think the most important thing, and this is again a quote I'm going to make from a friend's book. Patricia Okello and Joyce Niala have written a book called Women in Business.
Mm-hmm.
And they said that in Kenya, they've noticed a unique problem of women waiting to be given permission. So please, if you don't learn anything I said today, remember that you need to give yourself permission. Permission to thrive. Permission to rise to the top of your game.
Mm-hmm.
Permission to just not think, what if I ask this question and people think I'm foolish?
Yeah.
No. Ask anyway. And you will be surprised. And just like in the example you've given of the person who invested 200,000 and they are making money or monetizing since then, this is the true story of many people I know who took a risk, invested in personal development, and it's like they opened a river that has just been feeding them freshly every month of every year.
Wow.
So it's a risk that you have to take. In this life, if you want to move forward, you must make sacrifices. That's just what makes some people get ahead of others. You can even be in the same job with somebody and you wonder, how come this person has 3 houses and I have one.
Yeah.
How come this person has 5 houses? I have none. And when you think about it, these 2 people have the same salary. So you need to wonder, what is the motivation of the person who is ahead, and what is the motivation of the person who is scared of taking that first step? It's all about your motivations, you know? So it is so important to motivate yourself every single day. And then after that, you must make a sacrifice if you want to reach your destination. You must make sacrifices to get to that desired destination.
Very true. Wow. Joyce, thank you so much for your time this morning. We definitely have to do this again. In fact, Wangoi from South Sea saying, invite that guest back next week. She has a lot of knowledge on growth mindsets. Well, we'll make arrangements. We'll have her come back again in another week to continue on with this kind of discussion. Joyce, thank you. Have a great day and God bless you.
For this and more of our shows, log on to www.familymediaonline.com to enjoy a wide variety of programs from current affairs to testimonials and features, pastoral and inspirational shows, kids entertainment, and so much more. Also stream live on www.familymedia.tv.